Hello, this is for class 5 students. A Merry Christmas, which I'm going to teach. And this is a story that focuses on the mental and moral growth of the main characters. And also, I want to say that we all celebrate festivals. So, how do you celebrate that? Do you eat something special or wear something different on festival days? You answer that. So, let us start with the story. Now, there were three sisters Meg, Jo, sorry, there were four sisters Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy March. There were four sisters who lived with the mother in Boston. Their father was away at war, he was fighting a war somewhere. This family was a very poor family, but they were a happy lot because they loved each other and they had a lot of affection for each other. So this extract is taken from this novel, and it tells us how they spent their Christmas morning. So let us start. Jo was the first to wake up in the morning. She got up early in the morning and she was the first to wake up, and she saw no stockings hung at the fireplace, and for a moment she was disappointed, as she did long ago, as she did a very long ago, when her little sock fell down because it was so crammed with all Christmas goodies. It became heavy and fell down, and she was disappointed. And today there was nothing there. So her disappointed, her disappointment this time and that time are the same. But then she remembered her mother's promise. Her mother promised them something. And what did she do? Slipping a hand under her pillow, she drew out a little crimson covered book. She knew it very well, for it was that beautiful old story of the best life ever lived. The book had a story of the best life ever lived, and Jo felt that it was a true guide for any pilgrim going on a long journey. So, what did she do? She went there and she woke up Meg with a Merry Christmas. She told her, Meg, get up, Merry Christmas. And she told her to do something. She told her, put your hand under the pillow and take out, there's something there for you. A green covered book appeared with the same picture inside and a few words written by her mother, which made the one present very, very precious in their eyes. Now, presently, Beth and Amy woke up to rummage. Rummage means to look for something untidily, very untidily, and find their little books also. One dove colored, the other blue, and all sat looking at it and talking about them, talking about these books which the mother gave them, while the sun grew rosy with the coming of the day. In spite of her small vanities, Margaret had a sweet and pious nature which unconsciously influenced her sisters, especially Jo, who loved her very much, very tenderly, and obeyed her because her advice was so gentle, so gently given. So she said, girls, said Megs, seriously, Mother wants us to read and love and mind these books, and we must begin at once. We used to be faithful about it, but since Father went away and all this war trouble unsettled us, we have neglected many things. So you can do as you please, but I shall keep my book on the table and read a little every morning as soon as I wake up, for I know it will do me good and help me through the day. So she gave her sister's advice. I'm going to read the book. You can do whatever you want. By me reading this book, it will help me through the day. Then she opened her new book and began to read. Joe put her arms around her and, leaning cheek to cheek, read also with the quiet expression so seldom seen on her restless face. How good Meg is! Come, Amy! So Joe called Amy and said, see how good Meg is, she's reading. Let us do as they do. I'll help you with the hard words. If you can't read the hard words, I will help you. And they'll explain things if we don't understand. The other sisters will explain things if we don't understand, whispered Beth, very much impressed by the pretty books and her sister's example. Where is mother? Asked Meg, as she and Joe ran down to thank her for the gifts. So Meg asked, where is mother? She and Joe, they ran down to thank the mother for the gifts. Half an hour later, goodness only knows, some poor creature. Now creature over here is for a creature. Came a begging, and your ma went straight off to see what was needed. So this person is telling them that your mother went to buy something to see what was needed for the house. There was never such a woman for giving away victuals and drink and clothes and firing, replied Hannah, who lived with the family since Meg was born. So Hannah said, your mother has gone out to give things to people. It's Christmas time, and to bring some things for everybody. Now she worked with the family since Meg was born, and was considered by them all more as a friend than a servant. So Hannah was considered as a friend, not a servant who worked for them. She will be back soon, I think. So fry your cake and have everything ready under the sofa, ready to be produced at the proper time. So get everything ready. When your mama comes, you will get everything ready. There's mother, hide the basket. Quick, cried Joe as the door slammed, and said Meg, looking over the presents which were collected in a basket and kept sounded in the hall. So they saw this. So they saw the mother and they said, hide the basket. Another bang of the street door sent the basket under the sofa and the girls to the table, eager for breakfast. Merry Christmas, Mommy. Thank you for our books. We read them and mean to every day, they cried in chorus. So they thanked the mother and they said, thank you for the books, and we read them and we're going to read them every day. Merry Christmas, little daughters. I'm glad you began at once. I hope you will keep on. So the mother told them that she was glad that they were reading the books and they would keep on reading the books. But the mother also told them that I want to say one word before we all sit down. Not far away from here lies a poor woman with a little newborn baby. 6 children are huddled into one bed to keep them from freezing, for they have no fire. So mother told them, there's a woman out there who has a little baby. She has 6 children, and they don't have fire at home. Them is nothing to eat over there. They don't have anything to eat there. And the oldest boy came to tell me that they were suffering from hunger and cold. So my girls, she told them, will you give them your breakfast as a Christmas present? She told the girls, somebody is more in need of something. So will you help? Will you sacrifice your breakfast? They were all unusually hungry. All the girls were hungry. Having waited nearly an hour, they waited for an hour for the mother to come back, and they were hungry. And for a minute, nobody spoke when the mother asked them to keep the breakfast away to another family who deserved more, who were deserving. Only a minute, for Joe exclaimed, I'm so glad you came before we began. So Joe said, I'm so glad you came and asked us before we began. May I go and help carry the things to the poor little children? So Joe said, may I go with you, along with you, and give our breakfast to the poor children? Said Bet eagerly, I shall take the cream and the muffins, added Annie heroically, giving up the articles she most liked. Annie also gave the articles that she most liked. Meg was already covering the buckwheats and piling the bread into one big plate. I thought you'd do it. You'd do it, said Mrs. March, the girl's mother, smiling as if she was satisfied that she had good daughters who thought about others. You shall all go and help me, and when we come back, we will have bread and milk for breakfast. So when we go, all this good food we give them, and we will have simple milk and bread for breakfast. And make it at dinner time. A poor, bare, miserable room it was, with broken windows, no fire. When they went there, they saw how these people were living. They were poor, the room was bare, nothing they had. The room was miserable, with the windows broken, there was no fire, ragged bedclothes, a sick mother, a wailing baby, and a group of pale, hungry children cuddled under one old quilt, a blanket, trying to keep themselves warm. How the big eyes stared with blue lips smiled as the girls went in. When the girls went in, all those children, the eyes stared, the blue lips flew because of the cold. It is God, good angels come to us, said the poor woman. So the poor woman saw them bringing food and she said, these are good angels who have come to us, crying for joy. Funny angels in hoods and mittens, said Joe. So Joe was a little funny. She said, no, not good angels. We are funny angels in hoods. They're wearing hoods and mittens. And said them laughing. In a few minutes, it really did seem as if kind spirits had been at work there. It was like a miracle. Somebody didn't have anything, and it was Christmas Day, a festival. And there was a family who was sacrificing the breakfast and other things and giving them, which this family also was poor, but they helped somebody who was more poor than them. Now Hannah, who had carried wood, she quickly made a fire and stopped up the broken panes with old hats and her own cloak. So Hannah quickly made a fire. She blocked the windows with broken wood. She took off her coat, put it in one of the windows. Mrs. March gave the mother tea and gruel. Gruel is some kind of food. And comforted her with promises of help. She promised her that I will help you. While she dressed the little baby as tenderly as if it had been her own. The girls, meantime, spread the table. Now the girls spread the table nicely to put the food on there. Set the children around the fire. They made the children sit around the fire and fed them like so many hungry birds, laughing, talking, and trying to understand the funny, broken English. Now, what was funny, broken English? Because this family, who was having a problem at this time, they were Germans. As they ate and warmed their purple hands at the comfortable blaze, the girls had never been called angel children before. See, they were never called angel children before and thought it very agreeable. Especially Jo, who had been considered a Sancho ever since she was born. That was a very happy breakfast though. You see, they shared the breakfast and they were satisfied. They didn't share, they gave the breakfast to their poor people. And they felt satisfied because they could sacrifice something for somebody else. So, though they didn't get any of it, and when they went away, leaving comfort behind, when they left the house, they left them comfortable, left those poor people comfortable. I think they were not in all the city for merrier people than the hungry little girls who gave away the breakfast and contented themselves with bread and milk on Christmas morning. So the children, these poor people, helped another poor family, gave them their breakfast. That's loving our neighbor better than ourselves, and I like it, said Meg, as they set out their presents, while their mother was upstairs collecting clothes for the poor Hummels. She's coming back. Strike up, Beth. Open the door, Amy. 3 chairs for Mommy, cried Joe, prancing about, while Meg went to conduct Mother to the seat of honor. He gave her the seat at the center of the table. Beth played her Grace March and threw open the door, and Meg enacted escort. Meg was escorting her mother to the table with great dignity. Mrs. March was both surprised and touched, and smiled with eyes full as she examined her presents and read the little notes which accompanied them. The slippers went on at once. A new handkerchief was slipped into her pocket, well scented with Amy's perfume. The rose was fastened in her bosom, and the nice gloves were pronounced a perfect fit. So if you like the story, I hope you like it. You can just give a thumbs up there. And the story is very much in our times now, right now, how we are living. There are many poor people who are suffering because of the lockdown. And if you could help them with food or with some money, this will, because there are many people who are not working right now because they're daily laborers. People who come out on the road selling fruits, they cannot come, or vegetables, they cannot come out. So my message to you is, this Christmas story has a good message, and it talks about our mental growth and our moral growth also. Our moral growth. How do we help people when they are in need? So I would request you at this time, because of this virus and the lockdown, if you find poor people around you who are having trouble with food, please help them. Tomorrow I will upload the question answers on Don Bosco Facebook, and you can write them down. So thank you and goodbye.